President Cyril Ramaphosa says he's instructed Sports, Arts and Culture Minister Nathi Mthethwa to scrap the controversial 22 million rand flag project. This is after Mthethwa had called him to seek advice as he had been slammed over the plans to erect the flag monument. Let's take a listen to that clip.
Mthethwa comes to me. He says, "President, please tell me when I can call you." So I say, "Mthethwa, I'm in a cabinet committee meeting. We'll talk afterwards." So I call him back and he says, "President, this flag thing, which is such a wonderful, initiative, it seems that our people are not happy with it." No, of course they are not happy. What should I do? Cancel this thing. The Minister Mthethwa was able to say, "Yes, President, we will pull this thing." And besides that, the cost was just too high. It's a wonderful project. Carino, pull it, we shelve it, we will see it. Once our economy is flying, then we will see it.
Right. Well, joining us to weigh in on this story is One South Africa Movement leader Mmusi Maimane. Mmusi, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us. I mean, right from the start, you've expressed your disapproval at the idea of this project. You questioned the price, you questioned the motive. Just take us through your criticism of the monumental flag project that a lot of South Africans have expressed their outrage towards as well.
Yeah. Good morning, and good morning to fellow South Africans. Recently, we've had an incredible natural disaster that occurred in KZN. We've had fires in the Western Cape. Ask yourself the question, to the families who have lost loved ones in that instance, where roads were not built, where recovery efforts are critical, and that we can rebuild, does a flag help those people? Because budget and finance is not an insurmountable amount. There are trade-offs between one priority versus another. In a world where young people and citizens are unemployed, I have to wonder why the President, A, thinks it's that funny, and B, that this project, at a time where our country is going through so much, where our education systems are not meeting the targets they want, students are without higher education financing, we think a 22 million rands flag will help decolonize, will help build national pride. You can't ask people who are hungry, starving, dying to say a flag will bring them national pride. I find, to me, not only is the project itself offensive and corrupt, in my humble opinion, because it's incompetent. How do you build a flag for 22 million rands? I mean, even on a good day, no one would be able to justify that. But furthermore, the response to it, as if it's some minor accounting error, as if it's some joke, even more debilitating for the people of this country, who, when leadership was being asked upon, Nathi Mthethwa must account for this issue, and it can't just be dismissive. No, well, people don't like this thing.
I mean, you've raised a number of issues, one of them being the tonality that we're picking up from this development, the tone by the President in answering a question, you know, in a jokingly manner, but also just the tone deafness, I suppose, of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, the disconnect that the project has from the real needs of South Africans versus what the department believes is needed to foster social cohesion, because that's the explanation that was proffered up when asked why South Africa needs a monumental flag. What's your response to that, to a department that is seemingly so disconnected to the real issues affecting South Africans and even, you know, South Africans who fall part of that ministry?
Yeah, I think if you honestly want to build social cohesion, one, you can't avoid it from economic outputs, because we have an insider-outsider economy. We have some who have too much, only a few, and too many with too little. So we have to build that compact that says, how do we build economic prosperity that works for all? Then all of us feel that we are proudly South Africans who are productive in our nation. Secondly, I think that it has to be translated in values. The value of Ubuntu has to be something that we not only infuse in our education curriculum, but something that we put in social dialogue so that citizens can begin to see each other as fellow human beings. And then to the symbols who emerge from that. You can't deny the fact that, yes, a flag is one, music is another, but could the Ministry of Arts and Culture not think, given that artists have lost 2 years of income thanks to COVID, could we not have commissioned a number of artists to say, we want you to write poems, we want you to write songs, we want to be able to communicate to the people of this country that South Africa is an incredible nation, it is going to prosper, and that for the purpose of social cohesion, we need dialogues that are led, that infuse values in our society. Not only will it help those artists recover some of the income, but it would certainly help in all of us being able to participate in a more broader group of citizens being able to contribute economically. I just feel that the Ministry of Arts and Culture, as many have said, the minister only acts in congratulations and condolences. But in fact, it has not done anything for artists. It has not done anything for social cohesion. And more seriously, when you look at all our sporting codes, many of them are in crisis, not only at board level, but at developmental level, in that there are no sports fields for kids to develop so that they can be part of this country's offering.
Mmusi, you've also raised the issue of the mismanagement of the 300 million rands that was earmarked to help artists who, of course, underwent severe economic strain during the COVID-19 pandemic. You have asked the minister through your tweet, what happened to the forensic investigation into that, and essentially drawn parallels between the alleged corruption that took place there and perhaps the possibility or the possible corruption that could have taken place with this 22 million rand monumental flag. Is that, in essence, what you were trying to draw our attention to?
It has to be, because I hold the view that we often lament, and we have people who become found out in corrupt, and we say, let them be fired. But what about people who do such patently incompetent things? If you promise people to say you are going to have a forensic investigation so that we know where the finances went, because I speak to many artists. Patrick Shai, my fellow Dobstonville, died a very poor man. You have to ask yourself the question, why as a contributor to South African arts was he not supported by this same ministry? Yet 300 million rands has been spent, a forensic investigation was promised, and no consequence. Of course, incompetence are often the seedbeds of corruption. If any tenderer is able to tell a minister that a flag will cost 22 million rands and will build an entire steel industry, and the minister believes that, then we must ask about the fitness for office of that particular minister. So, and then for them to furthermore say cabinet approved that, then I must ask broadly, what kind of cabinet says it's appropriate for us to spend 22? It is impossible to be able to spend 22 million rands on a flag. It is impossible for 300 million rands to have disappeared without anyone answering. So I have to ask the very basic question. Surely, Minister Nathi Mthethwa, given his track record in police during the Marikana crisis, given the 300 million rands, given this flag project, given the state of sports, arts and culture, why should he retain his job? At what expense should we carry on? Are we waiting for some corrupt act, i.e. Minister Zweli Mkhize? Or actually can we sit back and say, you are not advancing the objectives of the people of this country? We have to build a government that is competent, that is able to lead people to the future and ensure that ultimately we account for every cent that the public entrusts to us. If we fail to do that, we failed our people. And I think Nathi Mthethwa has failed the people of this country.
Mmusi Maimane, thank you so much. We are going to have to leave it there. That's the founder of the One South Africa movement, joining us to further unpack that story that created much uproar this week, the monumental flag project.